Confidence, man, are a UK duo that have been making some pretty fun, danceable pop music for a few years now. I thought their first album was good. It was fun. It had the spirit. It had the energy. It had the silliness. It had the humour. It was just a really fun album. You can't fault it. There was something so infectious and quite, I want to say fresh about the way that they approached their songs and the lyrics, and just seemed like they were there to have a good time. And while that doesn't necessarily always automatically translate to something great, just because an artist sounds like they're having fun, doesn't necessarily mean that the music is going to be fun to the listener. Most of the time it is. I would say most of the time it is. But, you know, it's not inherently going to be that way. But these guys made it that way. There was always something so fun about what they were doing. They sounded like they were having a great time, and you just feel it in the music as a listener. It's great when artists can do that. So of course I was interested to see what this album Tilt, T-I-L-T, Tilt, was going to sound like, because obviously I was a big fan of what they were doing before. And yeah, I think it's pretty much more of the same, to be honest, in a good way, not in a negative way. They're not reinventing themselves or reinventing the wheel. The wheel's already there, and they're just spinning it again and again and again. I think they've made a good effort to try and diversify things enough throughout the album. It's not like every track is doing the same thing. It's not like every track is giving off the same feeling as a listener, for me personally, and it's not as if they're doing the same things vocally on every track. I feel like they're trying to switch things up a little bit too, particularly the female singer, because of course the guy doesn't really contribute that often with his vocals. But he's there on occasion. Unfortunately, it doesn't always lead to the best results, though. I actually think the first track, Woman, gets a bit irritable for me with the vocals. They just get a bit repetitive with what they're doing on that track. The refrain is okay, but when it's kind of been hammered in as much as it gets hammered in on the song, by the end, I'm a little bit annoyed with it. It's not a bad track by any means, but just gets a little too much for me in terms of the vocals. I just find them a bit too nasally. And then Holiday, that nasal upper register comes back a bit more. There's just kind of like this weird little whininess to the voice that I don't really like, particularly on this track and the opening track. The two tracks that I think are probably quite comfortably the worst songs. But it's not like it's always like this. And to be fair, it's not like they're that bad either. They're okay. I just personally prefer it when they go in the more euphoric direction. The euphoria of the second track. Whee! Very uplifting. This track feels like a different thing. It reminds me of something that made it onto the last Agnes album, which came out last year, which, by the way, was a good album and just had quite a high energy to it. And there were some tracks that were very like spiritually awakened, and the lyrics were so, you know, passionate and uplifting and inspiring. And keep calm and carry on, baby. This song in 2006 would have had a music video that was like set in a gym, you know, where people are on treadmills or people are doing like workout sessions. This song was born for that era and needs that video. I don't know if this song already has a video, but it's got to be done. It's got to be done. The sarcastic humor comes back, which I like from these guys because they sell it in such a funny way. On the track Toy Boy, it's just so casually cheeky, this one, just singing the way she is about such a ludicrous topic, essentially. I like it when artists just kind of casually sing about something that's just so obviously ridiculous, and they just present it in quite a deadpan way. I think that's an underrated thing in music, you know. I think there needs to be more of that, like just a deadpan delivery just about something that's just silly. I think we got to hear more of that, man. I guess that Yard Act album that came out earlier this year was attempting that. Unfortunately, I didn't like it, but I welcome the idea of artists doing more of that, because I think when it sells, it's really funny. But yeah, they don't always go in this direction. We do have some of the vibrant, really summery tunes as well. Particularly Lovin' You is easy, and then also Push It Up, which I think are easily two of the catchiest tracks on the whole thing. Not necessarily making them the best songs, but just in terms of like the really memorable melody that they both produce, and just how straightforwardly pop they are, if that makes sense. They're still really good though, like there's no denying that at all. Trumpet Song does exactly what it says on the tin, which is a very British saying, but I'm sure Confidence Man would appreciate such a British saying. It is literally just an anthemic trumpet banger, to be honest. You can't really knock it. It is just exactly that. It says what it is, it does what it does, and it's like bringing back the best days of Rizzle Kicks. I feel like Rizzle Kicks could drop a sick verse over this banging tune. Where did they go as well? Gotta bring them back. Bring back Rizzle Kicks. One of the most left field tracks, I would say, is Angry Girl. This track, once again, brings back the silliness and the wackiness that you'd expect from Confidence Man. That really sardonic humour pops in, once again, which I enjoy. But the actual sound of the song is like straight out of the 2000s with like some dance punk banging, clattering drums coming through. It's way heavier than what you'd expect from Confidence Man. It honestly sounds like it's been ripped straight out of a Yeah Yeah Yeahs album, to be honest. Like, I'm okay with that because I like Yeah Yeah Yeahs, but I just wasn't expecting this left field turn on an album that's filled with mostly uppity, bippity, boppity pop jams. I still like it though. I still like it. Break It Bought It has a bit of sassiness to it as well. I feel like Shamir, back in his early days when he was dropping some bangers in like 2014, would have made a song like this. Definitely got that feeling to it. It also feels like something that would appear on RuPaul's Drag Race, like a contestant attempting to make their own song. It would sound like this. There's just that sassy quality to it. But yeah, overall, there's not much else to say about this album. I've said as much as I can and covered as much as I can in terms of the sound and the feeling that the album gives you. It's mostly just a lot of fun. So if you're looking for some fun pop music just before summer kicks in, I would say Confidence Man has at least 3 or 4 jams that could stay in rotation for you on this album easily. Feels like a different thing, particularly Trumpet Song as well. Among many others, I think you could play and get a great feeling, a feel-good feeling from. Yeah, 7 out of 10. I like this. They're consistent. They've dropped 2 albums that I think are pretty much about this level, and I'm interested to see where they keep going. They could potentially get bigger as well one day. I would like to see that, but for now, I think they're doing well and putting out good music that you should be checking out. So thank you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments if you haven't heard this already. If you have, no, if you, wait, what? If you've heard this, let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't heard this already, please check it out. Subscribe to the channel as well. Check out my Patreon. Shout out to the people that support me on there every month. You are fantastic. Thank you as always. Subscribe. Goodbye.